This week we are going to continue our study of the elements of art and focus on the word value. Value is all about the intensity of a color. It can go lighter and darker. It allows artists to create different forms, three-dimensional objects, and it also allows us to have a breadth or variety of different color choices. Black always adds a shade to a color and allows it to go darker, while white adds a tint and goes brighter and lighter. Grays are kind of in the middle. They make a variety of different tones. With fall approaching, I thought it would be perfect to focus in on a pumpkin for this week's lesson. I tried to find a photograph of really one pumpkin. There are going to be so many shapes and sizes to choose from. If you have a real pumpkin to look at, that's even more awesome. I just found a picture off the internet that I'm going to focus on. Try to find one with really good lighting, so like it looks like a light is shining on it, just like this one. This one is extremely dramatic, so you can see the color changes that are happening while creating your pumpkin. I do find that the more dramatic your light source is, from light to dark, the more three-dimensional your final work looks when you're done. I took some time to paint a pumpkin ahead of time. I looked at just a straight-on photograph similar to this, and I did go ahead and I painted the pumpkin all orange, and then on the top you can see I added some yellow and blended it in, just like blending our colors last week. And then I added some darker red at the bottom. I really just looked at the color wheel and saw the two colors next to orange, and I went with the lighter color on top and the darker color underneath. Now I'm using value in my background. So instead of just coloring in a plain blue background, I'm going to use a marker that goes on as a darker value and do it to the left and right towards the bottom of the sky area. And then I'm going to switch to a crayon. A crayon allows me to have a little bit more control over my values. So the darker I press, the darker it will go on. The lighter I press, the lighter value I get. It looks more like a tint, almost like the white has been mixed in. If I was using paint, I could actually add white to the blue. Since I'm not, I control the light and dark values with the crayon or color pencil by the amount of pressure I push on it. So that the harder I push and the more I color over it, the multiple times, the darker it's going to go on. The lighter I press, the lighter tones that you're going to get. So let's see how it turns out. Now I'm going to choose a couple of different materials. I've got a color pencil marker, even a crayon to work with, and I'm going to fill in the pebbles or the ground to make it look like a more bumpy texture. If you notice, especially on the right side there, if you just draw circles, it looks very flat. It does not look very three-dimensional, like it's going to come off the page. So what you have to do is use your full value scale to be able to make this work. So this gray marker is going on pretty of a darker, mid to dark gray. And when I complete this one, then I'm going to pick up my color pencil and use it lightly around the gray area. I will finish off with doing a darker brown around the edge. And then that space in between, I'm going to pull out a black and just barely press on it, which will make a very light gray. So between all these different color values, they're going to play off one another and it'll make it pop and be seen. You always want to use opposites. It's known as contrast in an art piece. Lights against darks really make it pop off the page and make your work all of a sudden look three-dimensional instead of so flat and two-dimensional. All right, let's check it out. Okay, so now I'm all done doing all my textures. I just wanted to point out a couple of items I use to do those lighter tones. This can be in paint too, but white and yellow are always known as your highlights, where blacks, dark browns, dark purples and blues, even a red you can mix in there as your darker tones. This book really highlights a nice value scale going from light to dark. You can do that with charcoal and chalk, or something less messy would be a color pencil, a crayon, and see if you can create some of these three-dimensional forms like this one. The tones and the values on there really make a difference. It's how you create a two-dimensional space that's so flat and make it look 3D with these different highlights as you see in some of these photographs. This artist really combined different textures in their sketchbook with all their different items. These types of books and their videos out there that really show you how to do this step by step. So if you wanted to take it to another level and add more objects, more complex objects and scenes, you can get to that higher level. I stuck with just the pumpkin for this one. But as you can see here, the darker tones with the white will make your piece look more 3D. And then you can even add color into the mix. Value really is based off the lights and darks. This book is Light and Shadows and Drawing. This one I will share with you when we get back into the classroom. I cannot wait to see how added value adds drama to your art piece. Remember to take a picture and turn it in when done.